What is up, everyone? We have my buddy Leo here. We're going to go through the EPL weekend. It was a fun one. Leo, your quick thoughts on the weekend before we get into every game.
Quick thought, conspiracy theories. Let's go.
Quick thought is conspiracy theories, yes. And we may have a special guest a little later to talk through some conspiracy theories. So I will leave one of those to the end. But Leah, what were the three things you saw this weekend that interested you? Other than your conspiracy theories, because obviously you want to say conspiracy theories.
I think this something weird that right off the bat, Mark Noble to hit that penalty kick for West Ham to tie it. Weird that was a move by Moyes.
David Moyes, the football genius. Yes.
Yep. Something interesting. Arsenal finally won against Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
And then something interesting would be what else? Oof. Both Everton and Leicester losing.
Well, I mean, if anyone watched our preview, I said that there was a nice little 5-game stretch there that was going to decide a lot. And it did bear out that way. It was interesting to watch what happened with actually a 4-game stretch. What happened with the Villa Everton game, the Brighton Leicester City game, the United West Ham game, and the Chelsea Tottenham game. And I think that that's really where this week needs to begin and end. And again, we will talk more in depth about the Man United game here in a little bit. We might have a special guest for that, but if they don't show up, we'll talk about it more expansively, since it really was the game of the weekend. But I mean, Chelsea very comprehensively beating Tottenham in the second half. Villa very comprehensively beating Everton. And Brighton pulling out the jammiest of jammy wins. I mean, I had it on a secondary screen because I was watching the United West Ham game. But every time I looked over at the Brighton Leicester game, it seemed that Leicester was scoring a goal and then it was being waved off. So, I mean, 2-1. Again, well, we can talk more about that, but Brighton, they're in fourth right now. I mean, they're one of 4 teams with 4 wins. So they are what they are.
One of us does not belong here.
Hey, the points are on the board. So that's one thing to watch, was that block of 4 games. Also great to see Brentford. They looked very good against Wolves. So maybe there's something real. And then the third thing, I mean, this weekend just reinforced my thought that I've had, and I will continue to beat this drum on every podcast. Liverpool and Chelsea are the 2 best teams in the league. I mean, if you take a look, I remember on the preview show, I had said that the Man City Southampton game and the Liverpool Crystal Palace game would have 8 goals scored between Liverpool and Man City. Liverpool showed up. In a poor performance, they scored 3 goals. Man City got blanked by Southampton. So that could mean nothing. That could mean a lot. And it could mean it'll be interesting to see what that means. Man City could use that as a launching point, or that could be what they are. Because if you look forward to Man City's schedule, which we will in the next 2 podcasts, their next 2 games are Chelsea and Liverpool. So, I mean, they really needed to put up, and by the way, in the middle there, a game in Paris against PSG. So, depending on what they do with the Champions League, I don't know if they can really rotate. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how that shakes out. So just to quickly go through the games, of course, started with Newcastle and Leeds on Friday, which was actually a pretty exciting game for Newcastle and Leeds. I mean, Leeds took the lead, Newcastle leveled through Alan Saint-Maximin. Any other thoughts on that game?
No, I thought it was pretty good back and forth game. What do I remember from it? I don't remember much. Just it was a decent game to start off the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, again, we had discussed that this game would come down to singular performances, and the two guys that we singled out were Rafinha and Alan Saint-Maximin. You also said Miguel Almiron, but those were two guys that scored the goals. I mean, it was Saint-Maximin and Rafinha, and those were really the wings that were penetrated through, and they really made things happen. I'm kind of surprised where Leeds are right now. I mean, I quite frankly thought that Leeds would be a little bit better, and they're winless. They're one of 5 teams that are winless. In 17th place, -7 goal difference. I mean, Leeds play the way Leeds play. So I mean, it is what it is. And Newcastle, I mean, they have 2 points. They also have -7 goal difference. Right now they're in 18th. I mean, you can't really take too much stock in the table now, but 5 games, no wins. So neither one of these teams have a win. So moving to another winless team. I know you had mentioned Arsenal, but their only 2 wins are against teams that don't have a win yet.
It's big for Arsenal this season, no matter which way you look at it.
I mean, their wins are against teams that don't have wins this season. It's Norwich and it's Burnley, who are also, ironically, in 19th and 20th. Another interesting thing to look at in the table, and we can also move around to a couple different games. It's very interesting to see 3 teams have 6 points. The teams with 6 points are Watford, Arsenal, and Leicester City. So the way that a season can look, both of those teams, or all 3 of those teams, are 2-0-3. So I mock you about it, but you had Leicester City in the top 4. Again, that may have been. It's easy to laugh at picks in week 5. For all I know, everything could go the right way. But Leicester City is a team that we thought were going to fight for the top 4. Arsenal were a team we gave up on. Leicester and Arsenal have the same record.
666, baby. That's what it's all about right now. Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it. I would never thought that they'd be in the same spot as Arsenal. For Watford, I would say that's an okay start, but very, very unacceptable. But for teams like Arsenal and Leicester City, this is trash. So I don't know. I mean, Jamie Vardy scored a goal, but other than that, unacceptable. And I don't like it.
We'll talk through more of the Leicester side in a moment, but the interesting thing to look at and to think about is what we think about Arsenal and what we think about Leicester, and they have the same records right now. Now, Arsenal, of course, have allowed more goals, but they have the same records right now. And if you're an Arsenal person, you look at your schedule, you take a step back, and you say, we've played some tough teams already. Now, a skepticist could say, yeah, you've played tough teams, but you've also lost to Brentford, won 1-0 against Norwich, won 1-0 against Burnley, and those are supposed to be three really simple teams. But in the same way, a pessimist can say, yeah, but we've also played Chelsea and Man City. And yeah, we kind of got blown out of those two games, but we played those teams already. So nobody else has played Chelsea and Man City already. And Chelsea and Man City are supposed to be two of the top 4 teams in the country. So if you're an Arsenal person, you might be looking at it and you might be saying, you know what, things might loosen up here. And moving right into Watford, because they had the next game on the schedule. I mean, they beat Norwich. Ismail Sarr looked really good, so that's impressive. Norwich is going to have a lot of trouble this season. I mean, they've scored 2 and allowed 14. That is going to be a very long season if that continues. I mean, they definitely need to bet in some of their newer players. I'm assuming you did not catch any of this game.
Nope. And if I had to have another choice, I would still not watch it. Not my favorite teams. It was probably a good game, a better game than the Southampton City game, which I did watch a little bit of, but
yeah.
Whatever.
So if you watched more Southampton City, of course, I watched more of Liverpool and Crystal Palace. What went on in that City Southampton game? I just saw that it finished 0-0. I saw that there was a red card dispute. What kind of happened there?
I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. I'm not going to say that, but it was boring. Grealish did his thing as far as looking for fouls the whole game, and nothing came to fruition. And I don't know. It was a little disappointing to see them not win. And it was another game that could have just gone unwatched. The real games were the Man United game and the Liverpool game if you're a fan. But this is also not one of my favorite games that I watched.
Right. And I know you mentioned the Liverpool game. I don't even think that the Liverpool game was one to watch. I mean, the best way to describe that game was from a notable podcast that I also listened to. They did in the match ground feeling. It wasn't a good game. I mean, Liverpool did not play well. Crystal Palace got on the inside of them a couple times. They put some balls in dangerous places. But Liverpool won 3-0. I mean, that felt like a game that could have easily went either way. And in the end, Liverpool win 3-0. So that is the sign of a championship team. Teams that'll pick up points from a game that could have very easily had nothing in it. But they found the way to get it done. And what's very interesting, and not enough of people are talking about it, people easily wanted to say, okay, well, Liverpool lost all those defenders, and that's why their defense was bad. Fair. What they're discounting is the fact that Liverpool are scoring off of corners and scoring off of set pieces again, which also goes to Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip being there for the set pieces. Liverpool scored 3 goals off of set pieces. So it's definitely interesting to see how that all plays out. Your thoughts? Because obviously, look, I am fully aware, and I am fully not hiding it. I am a Liverpool fan. I am biased towards Liverpool. So what is your unbiased opinion on what we saw out of Liverpool on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a soft showing for Liverpool. Liverpool, you see them dominate teams, but I've been getting a sense of feeling that the best teams out there a United, a Liverpool, a City, they play better against better teams. But when they have a shitty team, they just kind of get comfortable. They get a little soft, and they make mistakes. I don't know what happens when good teams play bad teams, but their quality just goes down just a hair, and you can tell right off the bat. When they don't finish plays, when they don't finish decent passes than they usually would. But put them up against a better team, Barcelona, Bayern, and or somebody decent, and they do a whole lot better. This was one of those situations where I don't know. I mean, they scored 3 goals, but it's a game where Liverpool can be 6-0, 7-0, just kill a team.
Okay.
And they actually let things happen sometimes. I mean, Benteke got a couple of good shots. Benteke is a monster. But needless to say, the superior team is Liverpool. They just went probably 75% for this game.
So I'll counterpoint that. Well, and that's a very well taken point, but Liverpool won the game 3-0. If your contention is these other teams that are in the championship race are doing similar to what Liverpool did, Man City drew at home against Southampton.
Not saying that.
Man United. Well, if the contention is that, well, good teams will play in a second gear, and you lumped Man City, Man United, and Liverpool together, which, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, please call me out on it. You
always are.
You didn't lump Chelsea in there, which is very fair, especially with the performances, because you are seeing Chelsea as a tier above, which again is fair. If I were to take my Liverpool glasses off for a minute and just look at it unbiasedly, Chelsea look like the best team in the league. So if you want to lump together Liverpool, Man U, Man City, that is a fair justification because you're putting Chelsea a tier above, which, again, I will reinforce. I can definitely see. My contention there would be Liverpool have won these games and won them comfortably. If you could play, here's what I will say. If you could play 75% and win 3-0, what happens when you play 100%? Because you could argue that United have played at 75% and they've drawn against Southampton, struggled against Wolves, got pulled back by Leeds and Newcastle before they went off, had to get a late winner against West Ham, struggled in Europe. Man City have already dropped points twice. So if those are their 75% performances, the only game Liverpool's dropped points against is Chelsea, who I think we can both agree is at worst the third best team in the league. At best, could win the league. So if you're going to group those 3 teams together, you then have to look at their performances. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're trying to group my groupings. The only reason why I grouped them together in the same group, it's because you just noticed a decrease in performance and in quality. Liverpool's still better than Man United. Man United could be playing every game at 100%, and they don't have that same defense that Liverpool has. So that's where the biggest fault comes from, or biggest thing that I see about Man United is that their defense is just not the greatest. I saw Maguire committing a terrible mistake. Fred committing a couple of other mistakes. We'll get to that one later. But Liverpool, just like these other teams that I grouped them with, the performance just kind of decreases a little bit when it's a really shitty team, and it surprises them. I'm not, and if you want to group them, it'd be Liverpool, and the City United would probably be tied there. I think they're the same quality team at this moment, Liverpool being better. But that's all I was trying to say, is that the performance or the quality hasn't showed in Chelsea as much as in Liverpool or Man United or City when they get to start playing, shittier teams.
Well, I mean,
Chelsea just kind of steamrolls through a lot of what they have to stack
right.
up against.
And there's also something to be said about the fact that we really haven't seen a top Liverpool team. I mean, they rotated against Milan in Europe. They rotated a little bit against Crystal Palace. They gave an opening start to Ibrahima Konate this weekend. So, I mean,
Well, the only thing that's not making them that 100% is Roberto just being injured. Otherwise, you'd be back at 100% like you usually are. Firmino.
well, I mean, they've also gotten a lot out of Diogo Jota this year. I mean, even though he did miss quite the sitter against Crystal Palace this weekend, but that's another point. And I don't want to put this all on Liverpool, but that's another point. Diogo Jota misses an absolute sitter this weekend that could have given Liverpool a 1-0 lead when Crystal Palace were putting pressure. Instead of falling into their shell, they scored before half, and then they scored 2 late goals to make it comfortable. So that is the mark of a good team. And this is actually a perfect segue because we have a guest. We have a guest coming in to get right into the conversation that we're going to go at. We have our good friend, and it's a great segue. I mean, I love that it worked out this way. So once he gets his technology going,
I'm here.
I'm going to jump right directly down his throat at this topic because we are having a good time. We have our friend Brent entering the chat. No video, but we don't need him. We don't need to see him right now. We'll work on it. We got some technical difficulties. Brent, we were having a little discussion about the top 4 and teams that are kind of up and down, and Leo took some pot shots at Liverpool, and it's good. It's good fun. So Brent, we wanted to bring you on because, of course, the game of the weekend, the thing to watch was the Man United West Ham game. And of course, you are a Manchester United fan, so you have your biases there, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan. I have my biases. So what I really wanted to go through and really wanted to discuss was, what do you see from Manchester United that leads you to believe that this is a team that is in the conversation with the Man Cities, with the Liverpools, with the Chelseas, and isn't just a team that have got the good rub of the green? I mean, their five fixtures to open the season have not been particularly tough. I mean, they're the only team that haven't played a top 5 team from last year that are in and about the top 5 for this year. This week's game looked like it was more set in Hollywood than at Carrington for Man U. I mean, you have Ronaldo scoring a goal that would have been offsides if we had the VAR rules from last year. You got Lingard coming off the bench to score a goal against West Ham after he played for West Ham last year. And then, of course, you have Mark Noble coming on for a 96-minute penalty. So, and that might just be what Man U is this year. So, aside from fluky stuff, which again, fluky stuff could work, what is a reason that we should believe in Man U this year?
2 words: Cristiano Ronaldo, baby. No, but seriously, it was a good game. I mean, I don't have a crazy in-depth analysis that you want me to give here, but it was a good game. Ronaldo probably could have drawn a couple penalties there, but they were a little weak, the ones he was trying to get. I loved the penalty. Not to skip ahead here, but you brought it up. What was his name? Mark Noble. I mean, as soon as I saw that guy running it, I was like, I mean,
he's gonna miss it.
Did we learn nothing from the era?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like super confident, but I was like, well, this is better than some guy that's been out there. But no, they're a very talented team. That was really cool to see Jesse Lingard kind of get redemption, he played for West Ham last year. Obviously, had a good season for them. Previously was on United. He had that big mistake in the Young Boys Champions League game where he passed back. That was only 5 days before that. So to see him come out and kind of redeem himself, I thought that was straight from Hollywood.
Yeah.
He actually I learned this yesterday. His time at United is rapidly coming to an end because he didn't re-sign. So he could be on his way out before the season's even over.
Absolutely.
But good for him.
That's why he was so linked even to move on a full-time deal to West Ham. And I mean, if you saw his celebrations, he didn't celebrate because he was loved at West Ham. He was treated right by West Ham, and he wasn't going to disrespect. He didn't do anything. And his teammates were even trying to celebrate with him, and he didn't want any of it because these were people who actually treated him right rather than the swine at Manchester United who disrespect everyone. And even when they have young talent coming up, splunk 30 million pounds on an 36-year-old, which is another interesting point. Since you don't really have a lot of opinion on how Man United are going to go forward, why add Cristiano Ronaldo? Now, I understand Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest players of all time. So I'm not diminishing that. But Cristiano Ronaldo's main purpose at this point is being that finisher, that guy who's going to show up and get shit done. But isn't that what Edison Cavani does? Isn't that what you got? You had a veteran leader who's going to win you those games, who's going to put the ball on net, who's going to make shit happen in Edison Cavani. And then you get Cristiano Ronaldo, who, yes, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not saying that Cristiano Ronaldo isn't amazing, but you get a guy who does something similar in Cristiano Ronaldo, rather than getting a defensive midfielder while you still have Fred playing defensive midfield. So you get Cristiano Ronaldo when you have Edison Cavani, but you don't get a central defender when you have Fred.
Leo, I think he wanted me to come on just so he could yell at Manchester United.
Bro, let me tell you. Yes and yes, because he only wants to talk about Liverpool. Cristiano Ronaldo changed the face of Manchester United. And the same reason why I have an Adidas hat on right now, why Bears has a Titleist hat on right now, instead of another cheap-ass brand. Well, that's exactly how you look at Edison Cavani versus Cristiano Ronaldo. Edison Cavani can get the job done. Edison Cavani can protect me from the sun rays, from the UV sun rays that the sun provides over my luscious hair. But it's not going to look great like this Adidas hat that I have on. It's not going to look great like Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is the light at the end of the tunnel that all teams need. They need a point man. They need a point man just like Salah in Liverpool, just like any other good team, Messi at Barcelona. They need somebody they have to look at. Edison Cavani can be, but does he have as big of a name as Cristiano Ronaldo? When you get the ball to your feet, does your muscle memory scream, just pass it to fucking Cristiano Ronaldo, he's going to get it done? Or does it say, just pass it to Cavani? You need that big name. You need that trust in a forward that he's going to get shit done. You just need to know that he's going to be there at the top of the 18 to finish whatever shitty shot you took. And the keeper just kind of let it, butterfingers. He's going to be there to finish it. That's why Cristiano Ronaldo over another defender that it's not going to score any goals.
Yeah. And you got that chemistry from the Euros with Bruno, that Portuguese chemistry. And they've looked great together so far. I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he does it all.
I think it happened with a lot of Manchester United. I mean, it used to happen with Del Nistelrooy when he was there. They needed a point man, a poacher to be out there and score some goals. Sorry, Brent.
No, you're all good. All good. I agree. Fred's not the best, but we still love him. No, McTominay had a good game. He had a great pass to Ronaldo that Ronaldo probably should have sent across the box to Mason Greenwood. But I mean, we're loaded. Back to Zolli's original question, like, why is Man United a threat going forward? I mean, when you're bringing off Jesse Lingard and Sancho off the bench, I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches.
So how long does this work until, because another key thing, and Ronaldo is great. I am not going to sit here and say Ronaldo isn't great, but as compared to Edison Cavani, the game does not need to be about Edison Cavani. Edison Cavani can sit on the bench to give Greenwood time, to give Lingard time, to give Rashford time, to give Anthony Martial anything that could resemble confidence. Cristiano Ronaldo needs to play every game. And if Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't play every game, he can punch somebody in the throat.
Okay, but
he doesn't care if he's in form, out of form, whatever. And that's one point. But the other thing is, how long is Cristiano Ronaldo going to be okay with having not super duper elite players around him? Because that's what happened at Juventus. Juventus are a very, very good team. Where he came from with Real Madrid were an elite team. Real Madrid aren't an elite team.
Cristiano Ronaldo just needs somebody that can pass the ball to him. He doesn't need elite players. He needs somebody that can shoot the ball, butterfingers, and he's there as a poacher to eat it up. He doesn't play that type of game anymore. Cristiano Ronaldo plays Luis Suarez, Luis Suarez type of football.
Which I totally understand, which I totally get, but that is not a route one plan. Route one is not.
I think he's great. I think what Ole's doing is he's letting every other little star just get their own minutes with Cristiano Ronaldo. Last week we saw him switch Cristiano Ronaldo out for Lingard, fuck the whole thing up. But this weekend we saw him put Lingard alongside with Cristiano Ronaldo and help out that way.
When he came out as a sub. So what I'm more so getting at is, how long is that going to work when you play the top teams? Because I haven't played the top teams. When they play Chelsea and Antonio Rudiger and Thiago Silva both go on him. When they play Liverpool and Matip and Van Dijk both go on him. When he is frustrated, when he is tactically played out of the game, and there isn't that other guy. Because at Real Madrid, there was that other guy. There was Bale. There was Benzema. There were attacking midfielders. Juventus, there wasn't that other guy. And then the question becomes, is that other guy there for Man United? One. And two, if it isn't, and we saw this at Juventus, how long is it before Cristiano Ronaldo says, fuck this, I run the team? And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who already isn't a dominant personality, really loses the team. Because that's what Ronaldo does. Ronaldo is...
You're getting way too ahead of yourself. We're 3 games in his career. He's had goals in every game. It's like you're predicting...
And they lost.
And you're completely ignoring Dybala. You're completely ignoring Bruno. You're completely ignoring Greenwood, amongst other stars that he has.
Well, okay, so we'll take a step back. So then we'll take a step back and we'll ask this question. Would you take the other Man United scoring options over peak Real Madrid's other scoring options?
Yeah, I'm leaving this conversation. I got to get ready for my next call, and I don't like the slander. I got tricked into coming here. I'm out.
Got you, Bears.
Later. Can't deal with the hot sauce. Don't come in the kitchen.
Bro.
I was asking questions.
Greenwood and Bruno. It's good. Would I take it over Benzema, Bale, Modric, those stars? No. but will it suffice to be top 2, top 3 in the EPL this season? Yes, I think so.
I just think that, and we got way off the rails there, but I just think that when push comes down to shove, it will become the Cristiano Ronaldo show. And we're not talking about Man U against fierce opposition right now. Like Brent was saying, we're only 3 games in. I mean, the 3 games were a Newcastle game that was tied, a loss to Young Boys, and a last-second win against West. So we're not talking about dominant performances.
Yes,
what
we are.
happens when you play the
Yes,
big
we are.
games? What?
Dominant performances don't only include goals, but they include possession, they include momentum, and Manchester United has had that every game that they played.
My darling wife knows nothing about soccer. She watched the Manchester United game with me, and she said, "Why does it look like those 11 players have never played together before?"
I think you just made that up. It's a good try.
On my unborn children, on
Very
your
good try.
unborn children, Christina's exact reaction was, "Why do those 11 players look like they've never played together before?" I swear on everything good, great, and gracious.
You sure she wasn't watching Liverpool?
Kill me dead. When she watches Liverpool, she can see that they know the schemes of what they're doing. When she watches Chelsea, when she watches Man U, Man City. When she watched Man United, she said, number one, they don't look like they've ever played together. And number two, why is the entire game about Cristiano Ronaldo getting the ball and falling down in the box and crying for a penalty? That's what she said. And she knows nothing. She knows beneath nothing.
That's good. Cristiano Ronaldo needs to lead. There needs to be a leader on the. If they're creating activity, he's showing everybody that he's trying by trying to draw some fouls or some penalties that aren't even there. That's as good as getting a shot in Cristiano Ronaldo's scheme. The way he's trying to do it, he's not trying to flop just to flop. He's trying to flop because he feels like he made a great run and he's, I don't know, skilled enough to fool the referee into thinking. Honestly, it was a little too much. The ref, I thought the EPL rule was going to be that if you flop, you got a yellow card. And that's not happening with Cristiano Ronaldo. It should have happened to warn him. But I didn't like that he was trying too hard at the penalty kick, but I did like that he was trying to at least bring something to the West Ham, to the defense. Something. If it's not a shot, at least try to draw a foul, try to get a free kick in, try to get something going. And that's the best he's got right now.
I'm going to leave it here before we get some final thoughts on Chelsea, Tottenham, and then go through the table. All I'm going to say, and this is not a you thing, this is the whole internet thing. If that's Raheem Sterling, if that's Harry Kane, if that's Mo Salah doing what Cristiano Ronaldo did, the internet explodes. Oh, they're cheats. Oh, they're divers. Why would we ever give them a call? But Cristiano Ronaldo, oh, that's a leader. That's somebody making the game happen. No, he is a prancing fairy who dives and is a cunt. That's it. On to Chelsea, Tottenham. Obviously, that was, to me, the most dominating performance of the weekend. Chelsea lulled Tottenham in the first half, brought on Conte in the second half, and then played them off the pitch. Played them right off the pitch. Tottenham, again, didn't do very much offensively. Harry Kane was absolutely non-existent. I feel like I feel like it is obvious that he's going to try to force himself out of Tottenham, Harry Kane, that is, but this was the offseason for him to move. And I don't know if that move is going to materialize now. And it definitely won't materialize in the way he wants it to materialize. I mean, he wanted Man City. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe he can go to United to take over, but he's not invested in Tottenham. He is not invested in Tottenham, and the team, quite frankly, do not look as good with him in the lineup. And like I said, Chelsea, that they played Chelsea's game. I mean, I mentioned it on our preview show. What's going to happen if Tottenham knocks Chelsea off their game? And Chelsea weren't knocked off their game, and it was very impressive. I mean, I have said that at the very worst, Chelsea are the second most impressive team in the league. If I were to take off my red tinted glasses, they're definitely in and above everyone else. I mean, if you want to just go there, I mean, they went to Anfield and got a point with 10 men. And them and Liverpool are matching results all throughout the season, matching exact results. They're both 4-1-0, 12 goals for, 1 goal allowed. The only team that scored more goals than them is Man United with 13. Nobody's allowed fewer than their 1. They've each allowed 1. City have also allowed 1, but they're 3-1-1, of course. Best goal difference, both on 11. So, I mean, Chelsea are just impressive. Your thoughts?
I don't know how you managed to start with Chelsea, get a little Liverpool in there somehow, some way, and then end back up with Chelsea.
Because they tied Liverpool. And I
think if you had a superpower,
what they have been doing compared to what Liverpool have been doing, because those are the two teams that are on top of the league right now.
If you had a superpower, I think it'd be putting Liverpool into anything that you do.
Are they not the two teams on top of the league right now?
Your superpower would be putting Liverpool into anything.
Are they not the two teams on top of the league?
It's not relevant to Liverpool.
You
find a way to just put it in there.
Like if Chelsea and Liverpool played each other.
If you were eating a burger on a desert and there was nobody around, you'd find a way to talk about Liverpool in that spot right there. I think Chelsea's great. The game was great. Tottenham was shitty. I think one of the guys that keeps impressing me a lot is Alonso. Alonso has this old school style and his what do you call it? His pizzazz, his attitude, the way that he handles the ball, doesn't make too many mistakes, always looking to go forward and get an offensive shot. I mean, amongst others like Lukaku and Thiago Silva, who had a great performance. I think Mark Alonso is impressing me almost every weekend on a weekly basis. Thanks very much. You can keep on talking about Liverpool if you want.
No, I'm only mentioning the other team that's leading the table. And
okay.
I was actually mentioning that Chelsea were impressive by taking a point at Liverpool. I was speaking how impressive Chelsea is as compared to the other team that is on top of the table. And the fact that there are no deficiencies in Chelsea's profile as compared to the other teams on top of the table. But statistically, the two teams that are on top of the table are Chelsea and Liverpool. The third team that is tied on points is Man United, but Man United have played St. Joseph's Home of the Blind, St. Lucy's Home of the Deaf, and 3 teams that shouldn't exist. So Chelsea and Liverpool are the 2 teams that are cut above. You could also discuss Man City in there, but they're behind Brighton right now, who I don't know if either one of us believe in, but City are 3 points off. Yeah, they've scored a ton of goals, but they've also lost to Spurs, who we just pretty much are saying are as bang average as humanly can be, and drew against Southampton, who, I mean, haven't won, but they've only lost 1 game. So that I'm interested to see how that's going to shake out for Southampton in the end. So it's very, very interested to see how their season kind of shakes out. And we didn't really talk a whole bunch about the Man City Southampton game, but something does have to be said about how impressive it is that Southampton have held both Manchester teams. So that's definitely something to look at. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea are the most impressive team in the league through 5 games. I mean, they've beat Arsenal. I would say that they, by what the result is, beat Liverpool. I mean, they got a point down 10 men. They beat the life out of Tottenham. They're the most impressive team in the league right now. The only other game we haven't talked about is Villa and Everton. Villa were what I thought Villa were. And I think that is more of what we're going to see from Villa. It's a real shame that Leon Bailey got hurt. I don't think that Everton are a team that's going to lose 3-0 whenever they play bigger teams. So the score line may flatter Aston Villa a little bit. But I think that is more of the play we'll see from Aston Villa. The score line flattered them and probably made Everton look a lot worse than they were. Everton's not that bad. Villa are that good, but I don't think that they're 3 goals better than Everton. But I was very impressed by how Villa did what they did. Shame that Leon Bailey got hurt after he had the great goal that he had. But it's interesting to see. And I pointed that game out as a real litmus test for both teams. I was interested to see how Everton would do in this game. I predicted that they would lose. I didn't think they would lose 3-0. But it definitely is a learning opportunity for Rafa Benitez and Everton to kind of take a look back and say, why did that happen? Which could be really good for them. Could be very good for them. Could be something that they use as a launching point to say, hey, if we're going to play a team that's going to go after us, how do we handle that game? How do we handle a team that might have more offensive firepower than us and will go at us? Because Everton want to counter, and that's what Villa got Everton on. Villa hit Everton with some counters. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah, not expected. It's a shame to see it. You know, I'm an Everton, a low-key Everton fan. They're probably my, I don't know, top 3rd, top 4th team that I like to watch. I like the players that play up top for them. And I don't know, it just sucks to see. I didn't watch the game, but I feel like they should have won. I don't like Aston Villa. I don't respect them as much. You know them more than I do, and you always talk about how underrated my view on them is. But I just feel like Everton would have been the better team. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it also is heavily different when you don't have Calvert-Lewin up top. So Solomon Rondon is not the same as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So not having DLC or DCL makes a huge difference. So that's why I'm saying I don't think that the result was really indicative of either team's performance. I do think that Villa are a very bright team, and I was excited to see them put in a good performance just because I think that they're a team that'll give some bloody noses. And I don't think that they were as poor as some of their early performances showed. It's an opportunity for Everton to learn. And I think that that's more of what we're going to get out of this game. I don't think that Everton are are that bad. I don't think that they're a team that should be losing 3-0 to Aston Villa. They play a very interesting brand of football that also needs Calvert-Lewin, and he hasn't been there. So yeah, that's interesting to watch. Just rolling through the table here. Of course, we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, Chelsea, Liverpool, United, Brighton, City in 5th, Everton in 6th. Tottenham, I mean, they're in 7th with 9 points because they do have 3 wins, but now they've lost 2 on the bounce. They have a -3 goal difference, and none of the teams from 8 to 10 have a negative goal difference. So Tottenham's at -3. West Ham is at +4. Brentford's at +3. Villa's at +1. So we discussed this earlier on another podcast about how they went 1-0 win, 1-0 win, 1-0 win. And then they lost the next 2 games 3-0. So, and I mean, we saw Palace play this week, lose 3-0. They're 1-2-2 this season. So I can understand if you allow 3 to Chelsea, but why are you allowing 3 to Palace? So I don't know what we're seeing from Tottenham. Of course, impressed that Brentford is in and around. Just any other final thoughts on the weekend? We've ran a little long here today.
No, I think that's it. I wish Adama Traore would have done better.
I
But
feel like that's a common thread for the last 3 seasons. You keep watching, and it's not just you. It's me. It's everybody who knows anything about anything. You watch Adama Traore, and you think that he's going to be that guy, and he just never fucking is.
the whole team, I mean, you start to get a little bit of a flavor early on as to why this team is season after season a middle of the table team or worse. It's they just make bad decisions. That was a common theme amongst a lot of teams this weekend. Manchester United was one of them, but mostly the one that I saw, it was the Wolves game, and Raul Jimenez was just making terrible fucking plays. He tried a Rabona on a play where didn't need a Rabona. Traore didn't decide to light up until the last 5 minutes of the game. The whole time he was just kind of sleepy and letting defenders just kind of walk all over them. I don't know. It was just a bad performance. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, every weekend I get my heart broken by another team that I think is going to do great. Everton was in this case. Wolves were in this case. Leicester was in this case. And I just can't wait till the next heartbreak this next weekend.
Well, I mean, I think what we've seen is that there are teams that have been consistent, consistently poor, consistently solid, maybe even consistently able to take the game into the second gear and still be able to come out with a result. Because I know that I was waxing lyrical on how well Chelsea played. They didn't really do very much in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and then they showed up in the second half. Which kind of might have been their move. That might have been their motivation. Play dead, play possum, give the old rope-a-dope.
I always wondered if people do that because it's a good strategy, I think. You get the other team tired, and then you throw in a Conte, somebody with fresh legs that can make a difference, and you finish the game off.
Which is, for anyone who questions depth, that is where having the depth that Chelsea have and that City have and that United have could make a difference. Because they can call on world-class players off the bench, whereas maybe some other teams that are fighting in and above the top half of the table don't have that depth. That's definitely a problem for Leicester, definitely a problem for West Ham, and it could even be a problem for Liverpool, not able to bring on absolute world-class players. Chelsea can. Absolutely world-class. They brought on N'Golo Kante. They can bring on Hudson-Odoi. United can bring on Sancho, can bring on Lingard. City can bring on one of the 9 good attacking options that they have. Other teams can't. So that's where, when a game becomes a battle of attrition, they can make a difference. That's where some other teams might need to rely on a better first 11. So just quickly, I always end here. Who was your winner of the week?
I think winner of the week. Well, let's go back here. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go with the old reliable and just say Ronaldo, because he's had a hell of a debut. No matter which way you look at it, this man is scoring on almost every game, every opportunity, and good for him. At 36 years old, good for him.
Winner of the week, gotta go with my gut on it. Continue on the thread. It's Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. I mean, if you, and I was one. If you wanted to be someone who was in the camp of, oh, he did it with PSG, look at all the players he had, he didn't do it at Dortmund, he didn't win a Champions League at PSG. He is basically walking around 2 fingers to the sky saying, look, I'm a great manager. Look at me. Look at what I can do. I mean, he has in their, I can't say that Arsenal was as big of a game just because we know Arsenal are kind of what it is, but in their 2 biggest games they've had this season, he's pulled tactical mastermind moves. In the Liverpool game, he said, you know what? We can't go after this game. So I am going to pin myself as far back and just pray for a draw. And he did it. And he tactically moved the chess pieces to frustrate a very good Liverpool team. And then on Sunday, he played Spurs off the park. I mean, he made the right moves. He applied the right pressure. He lulled them into the game and then just delivered sucker punches. And I know you could say, oh, the manager delivered the sucker punches. The players have to make the plays. But Tuchel put them in the positions to make the plays. And you could say it's Tuchel because of what he was able to do to win them a Champions League last year. A lot of that was tactical. So very impressed by him, very impressed by Chelsea. I know you're giving me stick about the team that I support, but that's the team I'm worried about. As a Liverpool fan, I am worried about Chelsea, and I will continue to be worried about Chelsea because that was a team that was missing a forward. I said that Lukaku was the most impactful signing in all of Europe, and nothing that I've seen has changed that opinion. He changes the entire team, gives Tuchel his guy, and I love it. Loser of the week.
Pep Guardiola. I think that it's shitty. That Man City lost against Southampton. I think that was a 1 game. They should have won it. They lost out on 3 good points that they could have had for the season. They could have been tied with the greats, and they missed out on that opportunity.
Yep. I don't know if I want to go Pep Guardiola whole hog that he is the loser. I was going to say Man City in general.
Me too.
Because you also had fans that were kicking off against Pep because Pep was questioning fans in the stands. Because if you saw their Champions League match, stadium wasn't exactly full. And he kind of took a swipe that was like, well, we wouldn't feel so alone if there were more people in the stands. and the fans basically told him to fuck off.
Crazy.
Why you would tell Pep Guardiola to fuck off, I don't know. It's Pep fucking Guardiola. If he wants to do whatever he wants to do, you let him do it. So he's the guy who's brought your team to places they've never been. And I mean, you're gonna miss him when he's gone. You're gonna miss him when he's gone. So I'm just gonna say Man City in general. And I think we had said it earlier, but I thought Man City were going to put up a big number in this game. They didn't. And now they have Chelsea, PSG, and Liverpool coming up, which could be the 3 best teams in Europe. So they got a job to do. I'm not saying that they can't win those games. I'm not saying that they can't come away with points in each of those games even, but they got a fucking job to do. So we'll let it go from there. And Leo, always fun. And I will get at you later. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, everybody. Let's do